Hello and welcome to IGX 2018. My name is Patrick McCaffrey with the HEMA, and I'm here with Matt.
I'm Matt Gallis from Belgium, sitting in on this IGX broadcast from Boston, Massachusetts.
All right, we are about to begin the finals for IGX 2018.
So the first event we will have is a dagger competition, starting with the light, going on to the middleweights and the heavyweights. After that, there will be the finals of the
Mixed weapon tournament,
which is a one-handed weapon with various companion weapons, whatever the choice of the fighter was. Next after that will be the finals of the Wisdom League, that is a senior tournament. Next will be the finals for the women's longsword, then for the beginner's longsword, and then finally ending with the finals for the open longsword for IGX 2018.
And right now, Stephen is giving some announcements for the audience right now, some last-minute adjustments. We'll be sure to let you know what those changes are as they come up, but they shouldn't be important for us, for the live stream.
While he's doing that, maybe we'll have a word about our sponsors.
Yes, we have several sponsors for IGX 2018. We have a series of event sponsors. Our event sponsors include Albion, St. Mark, Fallen Rook, Destroyer Mods, Spez, and Sword Squatch. They have donated a variety of prizes to the many first, second, and third place competitors. On top of that, we have several VIP or additional sponsors that have helped us out with generous sponsorships and some last-minute sponsorships. And we want to give special mention to Kevinton Armory for a last-minute sponsorship, as well as St. James Armory for a very generous sponsorship. But to give you just a brief rundown of some of the VIPs or some of the specific sponsors we have PBT.
Right, PBT, Hungarian company that makes high-quality fencing gear, both for sport fencing, but also for HEMA as well.
And next up, we have Combat Con.
Yeah, Combat Con, event held in Las Vegas, Nevada each year. Sparring Gloves, Polish company, makes high-quality sparring gloves, especially for longsword in both mitten and five-fingered varieties.
We also have HEMA Supplies. They are a supplier for HEMA equipment in the U.S.
Including the Regenier distributor for the United States.
Our next sponsor is something everybody in America knows. It's Purple Heart Armory. Purple Heart Armory has been providing HEMA equipment for almost 20 years.
Next we have Kvetun Armory out of Russia, maker of high-quality faders and sabers in particular. I have to say I was very impressed by the sabers that they had on display today.
And then next up we have St. James Armory. St. James Armory has provided several, I believe several swords for prizes this year. And then our final sponsor is the HEMA Alliance. The HEMA Alliance is a governing board, sort of a governing board for...
Not a governing board. It's an association, and a very important association for HEMA, and has done quite a great deal to develop the HEMA community, and in particular runs that HEMA Alliance Face Group page that so many people come to HEMA from.
And there's also many ancillary things that they do for us. The HEMA Alliance provides the Club Finder, which if you are looking for HEMA in your particular area, you can go to the HEMA Alliance Club Finder and find other groups near you who want to get involved in HEMA. All right, so I believe they are still working out some details for the finals, but while they're working out those details, let's talk a little bit about the rule set that is unique to IGX this year.
Right, so in the rule set this year, both fighters start with 5 points, and it's actually a subtractive system. So what's going to be happening is each fighter starts with 5 points, and then as a blow is registered against them, they lose points until they go down to 0. And so generally depending on the type of hit, the loss per hit is either 1 point or 2 points.
With the additional point being for things like deep targets or controlling your opponent as you're striking them. The other important thing about all of the competitions is it is specifically 4 passes. That means that you have 4 opportunities to take points away from your opponent. At the end of 4 passes, the person with the higher remaining score is our winner. For most of the competition today, the pools that led up to these finals, there was an additional bonus for the fighters if the fight was clean. If there were no doubles or afterblows in your specific match, both fighters were awarded an additional victory point. Those extra lives that weren't taken away at the end of 4 passes continues to accumulate for the fighter and gives them their ultimate possession.
So the intention of this is to prioritize the defense as the key to bringing out clean fencing.
And Matt, I'm not sure about you, but I think that overall we saw some very good fencing this weekend.
The fencing has looked pretty clean overall from what I saw. It was good. And I think it had at least some of the effect. You know, in putting together rule sets, it's always difficult. I just did a lecture on historical rule sets, and quite a few of us have had some interesting experiences over the years where we construct rule sets hoping to bring out one kind of behavior, and it often brings out something completely unexpected. But so far, results so far look pretty good here. So while we wait, we can take a look at who's going to be fighting first. So the initial bouts will be for the lightweight dagger. Looks like they're started.
So we are going to shut up and let Julie do the talking.
In 4th place is TQ from HEMA in the United Kingdom. Technique and research. 2nd place, Jake Burns from Boston Amazare. 1 point, Jeffrey Kim from the New York Historical Fencing Association.
We're going to go to the cutting competition.
Light semis and finals, and then go in order from there. Thank you all.
All right. So, in case it was a little difficult to hear, we do have a mic on the field to let you hear what the announcements are. The winners of the cutting tournament, in 4th place was TQ.
From the UK?
From the UK. In 3rd place was John Moran from Western Swordsmanship Techniques and Research, Worcester.
Jake Burns from Boston Armazzari got silver. And coming in first, just squeaking past Jake Burns, very close between the two of them, both were very, very good cutters, is Jeff Kim of the New York Historical Fencing Association for gold.
All right, they are getting ready for the 3rd place fight between Harold Vance and Jake Mazza. All right, so with these dagger competitions, you're going to see that these fighters are starting very close to each other, and it is a very intense bout that's going to happen very quickly for them.
Right. In reality, dagger fights, when they do occur, knife attacks occur from a very close distance, and this appears to be designed to replicate that. The fencers are at very close range. They start with the dagger at the hip, standing quite close to each other, and then they have to go from that position and start.
Ready.
So the fight begins.
And it's over that quickly.
Yeah, it looked like Blue caught his opponent's arm, delivered a blow to the face. I'm not sure if there was a...
-2 red.
Yes.
So that was 2 points in Blue's favor for controlling the arm and stabbing the opponent.
Right. It's a control point. It's an addition for controlling the opponent's left arm. So what you'll see in these fights a lot is that attempt to get that left hand out there and catch the opponent's weapon arm. There we have it. Looks like a stumble there. Oh! An attempted throw, but then a reversal, and down he goes. I think that throw is worth 2 points, correct?
Because
Minus
Yes.
2 red.
because our blue fighter remained standing, he got the additional point. If he had gone down with the red fighter, it would have been worth only 1 point.
Right.
Ooh. Another very quick match there.
Minus 1 blue, minus 1 red.
So what you see in
Minus
these
one
fights is they're
blue,
very
minus
fast paced.
one
We've
red.
seen this throughout, is you're at such a close distance, it either ends up being a quick rush forward or one of them jumps back. You get a little additional time to deal with around that.
Another quick thing to note. None of these matches have a time limit, so they are given as much or as little time as they would like to take in this fight.
Although the fact of the matter is these dagger bouts are very, very fast paced.
Yes. All right. So, Matt, I'm going to step away for a moment. I just want to announce that we have Tyler Sargent and Zack
In blue,
Kochanski.
Tyler Sargent of Grunberg Fire Inspector. Zack Kochanski in red from Pioneer Valley.
Right.
Yep,
And
so-
the reason Patrick McCaffrey is stepping away is because he is actually one of the competitors in the dagger
Middleweight.
competition.
I will be fighting for third place in just a moment. I want to gear up so I'm not slowing anybody else down. So I'll leave you with Matt, and I'll be back shortly.
Table ready?
Table ready.
Judges? Ready. Fighters ready. Fight.
So, swing and miss. Attempt to grab. It looked like a catch of the hand and a blow to the head. We'll see what the judges say.
Minus 2 red.
Minus 2 red.
Yes, so that was a control point for control of the left arm, blow to the head
Ready.
by Blue, taking 2 points away. Nice dodge. Red.
Minus 1 blue, minus 1 red.
Yeah, that's what it
Minus
looked like. It was
1
a double
blue,
hit.
minus
by the
1
two of
red.
them.
A moment, please.
Ready. Fight.
An initial quick blow by Red, I think that was judged as ineffective. There's, with these quality points, they have the ability, the judges have the ability to disregard hits if they believe they're too light. So it was an initial blow by Red, followed by an assault by Blue, which,
Minus 1 blue, minus 1 red.
Minus 1 blue, minus 1 red.
so I think the initial hit landed, and then there was the follow-up hit by Blue,
Is this last exchange?
Last exchange.
subtracted from both. 1-1. Last exchange. Taking a little more time here. Swing and a miss.
Judges. Minus 1 blue, minus 1 red.
Minus 1 blue, minus 1 red. That's match.
1 point.
The upcoming tournament is Middleweight Dagger. The first tournament will be between Patrick McCaffrey in blue versus Derek Weiss in red.
So my co-announcer is not with me because he's actually fighting here. That's Patrick McCaffrey from Pennsylvania, who is blue, I believe. Yes. Fighting against Derek Wise, who is red. So this is the bronze medal match.
Table ready?
Middleweight dagger.
Ready.
Judges? Fighters, ready. Fight.
Let's go, Patrick.
A little bit of feeling out. Looked like an initial stab by red. Looked like it was blocked, and a blow to the head by
-1 blue,
McCaffrey.
-1 red.
-1 blue, -1 red.
Both blows hit, though. 1
Ready.
point from each opponent.
Fight. Judges.
Looked like a quick grab for the left arm by Patrick McCaffrey, and several blows to the head.
-1 blue, -1 red.
-1 blue, -1 red.
That initial blow also looked like it hit front of Derek Wise as well.
Fight.
I believe that was a double as well.
-1 red.
-1 red.
That was a hit on red by blue.
Final
Minus
exchange.
1.
Final exchange.
Final exchange. Ready. Fight.
Taking a little more time. Last exchange.
-1 red.
-1 red. That's match.
Attempt to catch the arm and it failed. But it's just wounded.
Winner.
McCaffrey, the victor for bronze. And he now rejoins us, which gives us the opportunity to have an impromptu interview with one of our
For Middleweight
competitors.
Dagger,
What did you think?
Eddie Lewis
That was
in blue from
very
Focus
intense, very
Forte,
quick.
and Kevin Willi in red from LIHFS.
Don't want to talk over the announcements, but one of the things that's very difficult to really describe, in a lot of the dagger manuals, there's a lot of asymmetric dagger. That means one person has the dagger, the other person does not. In this competition, we are seeing a symmetric dagger fight where both members have the dagger. There are, again, pardon me for being out of breath.
That's okay. Just a quick announcement here. Eddie Lewis is
Table ready.
from blue is
Judges ready.
the first competitor, and Kevin Willis is red.
Fight.
Both jump back, keeping their distance, sensing each other. Extension of an arm by red. Reaching for that blade. Looked like a blow to the hand.
Judges.
And in this rule set, blows to the hand do not score. They are a non-scoring action. We are only counting deep targets for these
Yeah,
stabs.
we'll see if anything occurred from that. It looked like they both took. It looks like they both took a blow to the hand, but I'm not sure if anything counted there.
We're redoing that exchange.
They're redoing the exchange. I guess that was as unclear to them as it was to us.
Ready.
Ready.
Ready. Fight.
These two much cagier, keeping their distance than most of the other competitors. So that looked like a thrust to the face by red against blue.
-1 blue, -1 red.
It looks like the afterblow from
-1
red back to blue was in tempo. So something to know,
Fight.
in some of these fights, you're seeing your competitor keep what we colloquially call ice pick grip, which is that overhand grip. And then you are allowed to change to a, again, colloquially, saber grip, or that overhand.
Right, so quite a bit of circling there and overhand thrust.
-1 blue,
from underhand
-1
grip.
red.
And again, as you're seeing,
Third pass.
Ready. Fight.
ooh, very quick exchange there. And you're,
-1 blue.
-1 blue.
you see that
Last
happen
pass.
often, where you can either back away and focus on defense, or you can jump in and press the attack.
Yeah, definitely with this close distance, there is scope for a very quick blow from the starting gate with a bit of a lunge and hitting the opponent by surprise. We've seen that quite a bit, actually. So a lot of the folks you'll see that'll happen once, and then the next round they jump back very quickly to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Historically, dagger fights were very dangerous.
And still are.
Yeah. Do want to specify that these are daggers.
-1 blue. That was the last pass.
And it looks like our red fighter has won that. And we'll see what they say in a moment.
Right. So, Kevin Willi has won gold, and Eddy Lewis silver.
All right. And just to let our listeners at home know, we do have a list of some of the prizes that these competitors are fighting for. Now, these fighters don't know what the prizes are. All of the prizes are donated by our sponsors, and they don't find out what they're getting until the finals dinner later on tonight. But for our light dagger fighters,
We are now ready to begin Heavyweight Dagger Finals. The first round will be between Kyle Marrotte of WSTR in blue versus Christian Kunert from Boston Armazara in red.
all right, that's Kyle Merritt from Worcester and Christian Kunert
Or Boston Armazari.
from Boston Armazara.
The next one is going to be
All right, so I'm going to tell you what our heavy dagger competitors are fighting for. For third place, they're looking at a $25 gift certificate to St. James and a Spez towel.
as long as
Our second place winner will get a head cover from Spez. And our first place will get €100 for PBT and a copy of Encased in Steel. And again, our fighters don't know what they're fighting for
Table ready?
until they find out later tonight.
Judges? Fighters ready? Fight!
Yeah, you see that initial move back, create a little distance, create a little more time. A little interesting underhand grip, kind of thing you see in Meyer and Talhofer from blue.
All right.
-1 blue, -1 red.
-1 blue, -1 red.
So Blue had a good idea to get that hand out there and try to cover against Red's attack, but he wasn't controlling that arm.
Judges?
It's important, and we do see in the manuals to
-1 red.
hold on to that
So we
arm.
saw there was an interesting elbow push by blue and then a blow at the same time. That was actually
Really well done. Ooh, and that was a reverso cut.
reverse thrust, reverse overhand thrust by Red. Looks like it landed.
No points awarded there. We're going to redo that exchange.
All
Redoing
right.
the
We're
pass.
doing that for some reason.
It looks like the judges didn't feel there was
Table ready.
enough contact to award that a
Yeah,
point.
there is that quality issue throughout these rules where the judges can decide to throw something out. They just don't feel there's sufficient force behind the blow.
Yep.
Looked like an immobilization by
-1
blue.
blue, -1 red.
-1
but it looks like
blue,
he got
-1
caught.
They both
red.
got through,
This is
yeah.
the last pass.
Last exchange. Ready? Fight!
Fight!
Judges? -1 red.
That was
-1
very well
red.
done. That was a nice,
That was
quick
the last
exchange.
pass.
Blue got his hand up in the way of Red's blade and was able to deliver that blow. And Kyle Merritt from Worcester has won it. Has won third place for the heavyweight. Now,
So now we have Craig Kellner and Andrew Kilgore fighting for gold.
Up next, in the Heavyweight Dagger Finals, Craig Kellner of capital KDF in blue versus Andrew Kilgore of Athena School of Arms in red.
Andrew Kilgore easily qualifying as the noisiest person at this tournament and at this event.
very easily. Andrew has always been a very
He's a big personality.
passionate individual. So
Table ready.
Ready.
Judges ready. Ready. Fighters ready. Ready. Fight!
All right. Both jumping well back.
Creating some space.
Fight!
Oh,
That looked like a very quick, powerful thrust. Overhand by
From-
blue.
No points awarded. Redo the exchange.
Reading the pass.
it looks like they didn't give the point because they felt that the dagger landed on the arm
Yeah, I
and
think
not the
that's it,
torso.
Not the deep target. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like it landed on the upper arm.
Yeah, it was a good strike, but it just
It's
wasn't
not deep enough.
on the target.
Fight!
That looked like a swing and a miss by blue, and then a blow that hit by red over the top.
If you're seeing the last one, I feel like I went over the top.
1 point blue. Oh, sorry. Minus 1 point red.
Minus 1 point red.
All right, it looks like they were both attempted to award points, but red declined his point, feeling that was not quality. And that's something. Ooh. All right, so there was a solid contact there.
Solid blow. I didn't see what happened exactly. If it was a punch.
It looked like a glancing blow. It didn't. Not all the force was behind the dagger, and it wound up being a strike with the hand to the side of the head.
And there was a warning against that fighter, Greg Kellner.
It is very easy to have that adrenaline dump and really go for
Sure,
it.
and especially in Dagger where you're at such close quarters and it's so fast paced.
We're redoing that exchange.
Redoing pass 2.
So pass 2 being redone.
Ready. Fight.
And they're keeping distance, and they're
Andrew taking an interesting sort of half dagger grip, shield.
yeah. And we see that in Fiore in
Top halter as well.
yeah.
But it was a underhand grip by Kellner and an overhand, but with an overhand
Minus
thrust.
1 red.
Which
Minus
did
1
land to the
red.
deep target. So that was 1 blow against red.
Table ready.
It is very difficult to block some of these over or underhand grips and overhand thrusts.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
Oh, now, I think they called that a little soon. I don't think there was an actual
Minus 1 red.
contact.
Minus 1
Yeah,
red.
red was moving in to try and
Last
do
pass.
a throw, and it looked like he got hit with the dagger on the way in.
And it's very difficult to know those things. But that's why we have judges on both sides, so they can see what we can't.
Fight!
Kellner has very good, fast,
Minus
but
1 red.
very solid
Minus
hits.
1 red. That's
Hard
not
to target. Sort of a feint from above and then a thrust from below. In an ice pick grip. Interesting. You see that in there.
Yeah.
Got him with it.
So, for anybody at home who was wondering, are there weight classes for all the competitions? Well, only in the dagger competition. And that's really because dagger fighting and grappling are so intrinsically
Yeah, they're intertwined.
that you can't. The dagger is
It's a very close range weapons, and you're inherently in grappling distance when you're using it. And especially when you've got
The next
two
tournament
daggers
is
out
ready
there,
to
of
begin.
course, that
This
arm
the
is going to get
final
out
for
there
mixed weapons.
to try and
In
tangle
blue,
up the other
we
guy's
have
dagger arm.
Jake
so that
Burns
naturally
of
leads
Boston
you into
Armazara.
that
And
situation.
in red, we have Abelard Newell of Forte Swordplay.
So,
we are, these are the finals of the mixed weapon competition. And so, again, to recap, these are basically any one-handed weapon you wanted to take, whether it be rapier or saber or side sword,
we even
messer or dusac, and you can accompany it with any companion weapon or not, as you see fit. So, interesting mix of one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, of course, out.
we have seen in the mixed weapon competition, the offhand weapon could be a buckler, a dagger,
A cape.
a cape, in fact.
Anything you want. And so, interesting in this, so you've got Jake Burns versus Jacob Burke. Jake Burns just took the silver.
So it is actually Jake Burns versus Abelard Newell.
That's right.
We had a
Substitution.
last-minute substitution.
Correct. Jake Burns, it was just announced a few minutes ago, he took silver in the cutting competition. So that was with Longsword. He did a fine job. I watched that. Beautiful job cutting. So he's shown his skill with a longsword. Now he's going to show his skill with a one-handed weapon.
And we're going to see that the weapons you use are really anything you want. And we see Jake Burns is using a large buckler and a rapier
Table ready.
versus Abelard's. I'm looking rapier and
Yeah, rapier, it looks like a rapier dagger versus rapier and buckler. Rapier and buckler is actually uncommon, but it actually is quite a good combination.
Hold.
I'm not sure if that's actually a rapier or if that might be a side sword.
It's actually, I think it looks to me like a short, it looks like a short rapier. It's
Thrust by blue.
side sword
1 point
length, but
red.
it's quite a light
1
blade.
point red.
Got it.
Ready? You had to find that point? Yeah.
So red has declined the point.
You can't because it's against him. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I got confused there for a second. Yeah, no, you not. Sorry. I apologize for the misunderstanding there for a moment.
So that was a point against red.
Right.
Red thought it was a point for him and attempted to decline it.
So yeah, it looked like there was a tangle up there and a parry with the buckler and a thrust by Jake Burns. So that buckler is pretty big. You don't see those a lot, but that's actually a very legit weapon combination.
Yeah, as we are seeing.
Thrust leg by blue. 1 point against red.
1 point against red.
So for the dagger competition, the only way you could get 2 points was with a throw or with controlling the weapon. For these mixed weapon and the longsword, the only way you get 2 points is for a thrust to the torso or a cut or thrust to the head. All other targets are worth 1 point. And the entire body is a target with the exception of the groin and back of the head and spine.
So what you're seeing here is, you know, in Spanish martial arts, this is what you'd call a broquel grande. It's a large buckler, and it's actually doing quite a good job of picking up the thrusts
So we have
from
a
that
cut to the
rapier.
torso by red. 1 point against blue.
1 point against blue. Last pass.
Ready? Fight.
All right, circling each other on this last pass. It may not show up on film, but it looks like that's actually a flame-bladed rapier.
Yeah, a flying burst.
Hold. What? Okay.
All right, it looked like a member of the audience was calling a safety hold. That was unneeded. For all of our competitions, anytime there is a safety issue, either gear flying or anything like that, anybody can call a hold.
So Burns binding down the other guy's rapier, taking controlling
We have
it nice
initial
below
cut
to the
by
head.
blue. Repulsed by red to the torso.
Right, but there was an
So
afterblow.
that's 2 points against red, 1 point against blue.
2 points against red. 1 point against blue. That was the last pass.
Will you refresh that, actually? I'm sorry. You can't ask me to reflect it. You can say I declined the hit against me. I'm sorry, I declined the hit that I landed, but you can't.
If you want to reflect that. Well, I didn't feel the head hit. They may have saw something I didn't see. But
Yeah, I definitely saw the head hit, yeah.
Some discussion amongst the fighters.
Do you think you didn't land that head hit? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
So, a bit of sportsmanship for
Right, Jake Burns has declined the head hit, which I saw,
I saw too.
but he apparently didn't. He didn't like that for some reason.
Hey, come here.
Something about sportsmanship. All of our fighters are allowed to decline points that they have scored. And the match is to blue to Jake Burns. Jake Burns took third place, and from the mixed weapons, he will be awarded a padded skirt from Spez.
The next match in mixed weapons finals is Nathan Weston from the Athena School of Arms in blue versus Laurent Theil-Santerre from Academy Sumichi in red.
All right. So Nathan Weston is local, and he is fighting with a rapier and cape. Laurent Theil-Santerre
In
is
Canada.
He is. I actually got a chance to meet him over the summer when I came up and visited him. I've known both of these fighters now, and this should be a great fight.
It should be interesting. Yeah, I watched him fight in Longsword as well. He's a very skilled fencer.
All right. It looks like Laurent is using a broadsword
Looks like a
and
broadsword and
targe.
targe against looks like rapier and dagger, or
Rapier
and
and
cloak.
cloak. This
But
is
he's a lefty.
oh, this is going to be a very interesting
So
fight.
this is
I am
pretty
excited.
interesting. So Nathan Weston, left-hander. It looks like another.
Just to
Yeah, you tell me. It looks like a very short rapier is what it looks like to me.
For Nathan, yes, definitely a rapier.
Pretty short rapier along with a cloak. With the Canadian using targe.
So this is actually a very... Each fighter is using a classic combination of weapons that has appeared, both historically and in manuals. If they ever got a chance to fight each other in history,
Feeling out the bind. A little bit of preliminary play from long distance. Beating each other's blades. The left-hander on the outside line. This one does. So, looked like almost a hand hit, but not quite. Probably got the guard. Overhand press. Looked like a beautiful reverse cut by light, though, by the Canadian. Striking blue on the head, I believe.
yep.
So if you have the initial attack by red to the head, riposte by blue to the body. So that's double. 2 points against blue, 1 point against red.
Again,
2 points
those,
against blue,
I
1
didn't-
point against red.
so I did see Nathan's
Ready.
shot underneath on the body.
So that was 1 point against each. What's interesting
It was
here
actually
is
2 points against Nathan because of the shot to the head. Again, those deep targets are worth
right.
more points.
2 versus 1. So the deep target won on that one. So what's interesting here is when a lefty fights a right-hander, there's always this fight for the outside line. You always want to stay on the outside. But the Canadian's actually quite good coming around over the top with those
So,
reverse
we have the
cuts.
initial attack to the head by red, riposte to the arm by blue, double. 2 points against blue, 1 point against red.
So it's the
2
same
points
sort of thing.
against
Then
blue, 1
2
point
points for
against
the head
red.
hit, 1 point for the arm
Fight.
after the
Fast
blow. Swing with the cape. Much more active with the cape now.
And that cape, if it catches the tip of
Oh,
Lawrence,
solid cut. Looked like to the torso, which would be 1 point.
so it's a
by,
question.
by
Yeah, by,
Laurent.
it'll be a question of whether or not Nathan's shot to the head was in tempo. For all these competitions, there is that what we call a tempo, a time after the initial blow is struck for any after blow to occur. We always try to disincentivize striking in such a way that allows for an after blow because
Right, so clean defense, right? Any attack should have an element of defense in it. So it shouldn't be suicidal. You should be looking out for your own defense into the
Cut to the head by
aftermath,
red,
making your
riposte to the
attack.
torso by, sorry. Cut to the head against red, cut to riposte to the torso against blue. So that's 1 point blue against blue, 2 points against red.
1 point against blue, 2 points against red.
That's match.
and that is match. That was 3 exchanges. But that was enough points
So,
to
first,
take Nathan out.
first place, all right?
And we have Laurent Theil-Santerre getting first place.
From Canada, first place.
Nathan is going to be taking home a pair of coning gloves from St. Mark's. And Laurent is going to be bringing home an arming sword from St. James, a pass to Combat Con, and €100 for PBT.
So now we're going to be going into
We
what
are now
they're
going to begin.
calling the Wisdom Tournament for the
We're now going to begin
Senior
the finals for
fencers.
the Wisdom League. We have in blue, John Kindsvatter of
All
Worcester.
right, well, they are getting ready for
And in red,
this next set
Christopher
of
Palagi of Worcester Historical Swordsmanship.
fights. We're going to tell you a little bit about our sponsors again. Once again, we have Cantin Armory. Matt, I think you can tell a little bit more
Sure.
about Cantin.
Cantin is a fairly new company out of Russia, but they're making very solid faders and some very, very exciting sabers. In fact, they're on my acquisition list, is what I've been telling people, because out of the sabers that are out there, out of the ones that I've held, the Cantin sabers are really lovely.
Yep, and we are also going to bring a spotlight onto Purple Heart Armory. Purple Heart Armory has been sponsoring HEMA events across the United States for years now, and they have been supplying some great equipment, and they've been doing it for about 20 years.
Right, and they've got an interesting new line of weapons coming out. They're working with a particular smith in Hungary, and it's actually some pretty impressive weapons they're coming out with. More on that later.
All right, we are in the Wisdom Longsword third place match, and this is again between Don Kindsvatter and Christopher Palagi, or Palagi.
So both of them, blades extended and sort of a long inert, retracted long inert blow by
1
red
point
to the
against
leg
blue.
against blue.
So for our Wisdom League fighters, to qualify for the Wisdom League, it is, I believe, our fighters who are 50 years and older.
That was looked like a clean hit by blue to the left arm of red.
1 point against red.
So that's 1 point.
I think that this really came about as a way for some people who have been fighting for years.
It was a thrust and a parry by red, a blow that looked like it hit the guard, and then a follow-on blow that looked like it hit by blue.
That looked like a great thrust from blue to red. We'll see what the judges saw.
Calling it no exchange.
Redoing the pass.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
No exchange prior to the ring out.
So that was a no exchange because the fighters continued the action outside of the ring, and ring outs are non-scoring actions. They stop the action for safety reasons. Good exchange there. It looked like red cut down towards the hands as blue threw his work out towards the head. It is a very difficult job for our judges to not only see all what happened, but also their...
Double hit, both struck to the arms. It's 1 point against both fencers.
Right.
1
So it
point
was a double
against
hit.
both fencers.
Both fencers hit each other on the
Final
arms.
exchange.
Final pass.
And here's our final
Fence.
final exchange here in this bronze medal match.
All right, there's a solid strike to the hand from blue. That's 1 point from red. That is match.
Right? So
1
that was
point
a
from
blow
red.
to the
Match.
hand, blow to the hand by blue.
All right.
All right. And they're going to announce our third place winner.
So bronze medal winner. Having a little
Some of
trouble
these
getting
masks
that
are a little
mask
hard to
on.
get off, and that's a good thing.
So bronze, blue.
So that is Don Kindsvatter of Boston.
And these are great competitors. They fought through a pool to get to where they're at right now.
The next match in the Wisdom League Finals is between Victor Lavenstein in blue from RIFAC versus Ryan Rusek in red from Tri-State Historical Fencing.
So Victor Lavenstein in blue, Ryan Rusek in red for gold in this Wisdom League.
So our Wisdom League Longsword fighters, third place got a PBT Gorget. Our second place fighter will get a PBT head cover and 10% off his next order for Spez. And first place will get $100 for Destroyer mods and a PBT cover. So again, I think the idea behind the Wisdom League isn't because
Table ready.
they're not good fighters, but because when you have age versus youth.
So blue and a tail guard, right? Red from Tog. He made a cut. Looked like it raked across the chest. I think that would probably be thrown out for lack of quality.
Scoring action. 1 point from blue.
1 point
Okay.
from blue.
They had the option to kick that out as a lack of quality, but they chose to apply it. So that is 1 point against blue. It's kind of a rake. Okay. That was well, red was in left from Tog.
Strike to the arm.
On the shoulder, there was a strike to the arm
1
by
point
blue.
from red.
That hit red on the arm, on the forearm, on the right forearm. 1 point. And exactly the same thing happened again. So red was in Fumtog on the left shoulder. You see it's an initial thrust that didn't quite land. As he was coming forward from that guard, he got hit on the
Scoring
right
action
arm.
from blue. Strike to the arm. 1 point from red.
So it was another
1 point
strike by blue
from
to the
red.
right arm of red.
Last pass.
And it looked like blue hit red on the arm twice. The first one, our judge didn't call because I believe he saw it as flat or without quality. At least that's what it looked like from my point of view.
And that blow looked like a flat blow in exactly the same place by blue.
Okay, so we had strike to the arm from blue, followed in time. Strike also to the arm. 1 point against both fencers.
1 point against both fencers.
Yeah.
That is match.
Looks like
They
they
saw
called.
that as a double hit from both, each to the arm. Frankly, it looked to me like Blue's hit was flat, but you know.
But then again-
minds can differ on these things.
Yeah. And our
Sometimes
judges,
it's a question of angle, right?
yeah, our judges are seeing something that we can't. All right, it looks like our winner is Victor Lavenstein. All right, our next match will be our women's finals. And again, I'm going to take just a quick moment to give a shout out to some of our sponsors.
Up next,
We're going to mention sparring gloves right now. Sparring glove,
we have the final.
as any fighter will tell you,
Longsword.
the gloves that you use are important, and sparring glove makes a good product for our fighters to keep their hands safe
This
so we can
match
go back to our day
is
jobs.
between Stéfany Cantin from Academy Sunisi, she's in blue, versus Eva Arnason from Athena School of Arms in red.
All right.
All right. So Stéfany Cantin in blue and Eva Arnason in red from Athena Academy in Boston.
And Stéfany is also visiting us from Canada, and actually came down with Theil, so there's a lot of
Cantin. Yeah,
Table ready.
she's from Canada.
there's a lot of good talent coming down and visiting us today.
Great. Yeah, there are 4 countries represented here today. All right, so from Tog on the shoulder, bit of a long enough. Bit of a messy exchange there.
From where we're at, and we are at one side of the ring, so we can't always see all the action. I don't know about you, Matt, but I couldn't actually see
Yeah, I had
any of the contacts.
The first fighter had her back to me, so it was very difficult to see what was going on from this angle.
1 point deducted from each fencer.
So that was it was a bit of a messy exchange. It looked like a series of double hits, to be frank.
All right, I like it.
All right.
And I know that if you're watching the live stream, you're getting a little bit better view than we are.
Yeah, we're watching the back of one of the fighters. Unfortunately, it looked like a sphere that missed to me, but
So you can see, we can see through the masks the smile on these fighters' faces. They are just really enjoying themselves, and that's really important for all of our fighters out there enjoying themselves and practicing their art.
Counters against the arm. In tempo after blow, the arm arrives as well.
So Stéfany and Cantin from Canada, typically using a Longenort, coming out in Longenort. The other typically in Fontag. She's a lefty. Our fencer from Boston. That looked like that was a blow to the right arm by Stéfany in blue.
And you can see our fighters congratulating each other on that clean exchange.
Cuts arm. 1 point deducted from red.
1 point deducted from red. This is the last pass.
Last
All right.
pass. Ready.
Last opportunity again. Longenort versus Fontag. With another arm blow by Stéfany. Cutting from the right. Striking on the left arm of Eva Arnason from Boston.
Most
That's what I
competition.
saw at least.
So, we got some stuff. Then blue starts spinning. And then the afterblow. To be honest, don't know if it was tempo or quality. Wouldn't matter to the final result.
It wasn't quality.
All right, so that is 1 point deducted from red.
What? 1 point deducted from red. That is match.
Right. So that looks like there was that arm blow
Awesome.
by Stéfany Cantin of Canada, striking to the arm.
All right. So this was the third place match.
Bronze, women's longsword.
Bronze goes to Canada.
And Stéfany will be taking home Spez forearm and elbow guards.
So our gold medal match is between
winner's
Charlotte Morgan
longsword.
and Christina Twombly.
We have Charlotte Morgan in blue.
All
She's
right.
from Grunberg Trifecta. Versus Christina
take a
Twombly
moment to,
in red from Boston.
Again, give a
Arkansas.
quick shout out to one of our sponsors, the HEMA Alliance. The HEMA Alliance is providing some event support for IGX this year. They are providing event support for events across the country, and you can find more information at thehemaalliance.com.
Table ready.
Table ready.
Judge ready. Blue fencer ready. Red fencer ready. Let's.
All right.
Oh!
It looked like a good cut to the hand from red.
It looked pretty light.
1 point against.
1 point against blue.
Okay. Judges saw it otherwise. 1 point against blue. So he's feeling each other out. This is a very calm match. Pretty clean fighting.
So I believe our fighters, Charlotte Morgan is with Grunberg Trifecta. They are a Meyer club, and Christina Twombly is from Boston Armazzari.
1 point against each.
Looks
So it's
like
1 point on each.
with an in-tempo blow. Christina Twombly is with Boston Armazzari, a Fiore club. So you'll see them use slightly different guards in different ways.
Bit of a bind, fight in the bind, looked like a thrust underneath by Twombly. I'm not sure if the judges saw that. Yeah, they basically went up in the bind. There was a little bit of a scrapple there. It looked to me like Twombly got her arm and thrust her underneath.
Yeah, it looks
Let's
like
see if the judges saw that.
There was a thrust which eventually arrived
Yeah,
for red. 2 points against blue.
2 points
right.
against
So that,
blue.
that thrust underneath from Twombly
That-
did arrive to the belly. Thrust to the torso is 2
Last
points.
pass.
Thanks.
So this is our last pass. Low guards by Twombly. Looked like a bind. And looked like a half sword.
that was a beautiful exchange. The crowd always loves it when somebody goes to half sword.
Against blue by red. 2 points against blue.
2 points against blue. That's match.
That half sword thrust by red or Twombly did actually arrive. That was pretty nice. Nice to see a half sword thrust in a gold medal match.
Definitely. So our second place is going to receive red dragon gloves and 10% off spez.
Gold. Winner's longsword.
Gold goes to Christina.
Christina Twombly.
And she will be getting free Sword Squatch entry next year and a copy of Encased in Steel. While they are getting ready for the next competition, which is Beginner's Longsword, again, I would like to give a shout out to some of our sponsors.
Up next, we have the finals for Beginner's Longsword.
And we're going to give a quick shout out to St. James Armory. St. James Armory has
In blue,
provided
we have Derek Wise
several
of
weapons for this
Boston
and has been very generous.
And in red, we have Jeffrey Baravarians from LIHFS.
So we have Derek Wise, who we did see fight earlier, I believe. He fought for the third place in the Middleweight Dagger. He is fighting again in the Beginner's Longsword.
He is from Boston, Armatsari.
And then we have Jeffrey Bavarian, who is fighting from the Long Island Historical Fencing Society. So these beginner longsword fighters fought yesterday in teams. We had 4 teams of beginner longsword fighters who would pair up one team against another, and all the 5 fighters from one team would fight all 5 of the other fighters from the other team. And they were being coached by some really good mentors. Looks like they're getting ready to fight. I'll tell you a little bit more about those mentors after this match.
Low guard by blue, sort of a flug by red. Point comes up, bit of a beat, just to feel the other guy out. Feint by red, blue breaks distance. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Cut and a miss by red, followed by a thrust to the throat. Yeah, by blue. Beautiful. That was classic knock rise. Very nice, very nice. Cut. It's classic 2-time defense. Evade the cut, then move back in with the thrust. Very nice.
So, that was a beautiful knock rise, and though I don't think the blue fighter would actually call it that, because he is he studies Fury with Boston Armatsari, but it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. We just have different names for it.
Sure.
So just talking about the styles, we'll see a lot of the KDF style fencers will take higher guards, and a lot of our...
This is just interesting. There's a lot of sensing here. Oh, feeling each other out. A lot of little feints, couple of attempts to get the leg foiled. Oh, nice. Nice thrust. They got parried. A lot of good blade. Oh, beautiful clean hit to the right arm by blue. After quite a deal of
feeling it out.
Blade work.
One
That was
point
actually
against
quite a nice
red.
exchange.
And I think these fighters are really showing that
This is good. This is quite a nice bout so far.
Yeah, they are showing that they are worrying about defense and not taking silly chances to just get a point.
This is great. These are beginners. This is fantastic. This makes me happy. I see beginners fencing like this, and it makes me think good things for the future of HEMA.
Agreed.
A lot of sensing each other out. A lot of little things, followed by a beautiful thrust by blue, unflipping, lifting up into left off. Beautiful, beautiful thrust.
And again, these fighters are...
Thrust from blue, 2 points from red.
2 points from red.
That's match.
That's match.
These fighters are giving wonderful props to each other. And that was Derek Wise who has won
Derek Wise in blue.
from Boston Armatsari.
Good fighting from both.
Yes.
So Derek Wise, I've already loaded the next one.
Derek Wise. Really, really nice.
Up next, for the finals for beginners longsword, we have Robert Smith of Nickel City Longsword in blue versus Yishen Liu of Boston Armazara in red.
All right. So we have two more beginner longsword fighters. Just a quick note about all these beginners fighters. This could be their first actual tournament that they are competing in. And again, yesterday they were put in teams with a coach to help them be as good a fighters as they can. And these coaches were not from their club, and it gave them a different perspective on things, and hopefully a good one.
Ready? Fans are ready? Fight!
All right, so this is our gold medal match. Confident fighters moving in, nice control of space. It looked like a thrust that got parried by blue and a cut by red, although it was a little difficult to see because I had
We were looking
blue
at
with his
the,
back to us.
yeah, it looked like blue tried to do a one-handed
Yeah, that got
thrust.
parried. That's
Yeah.
what it looked like to me, and it looked like there was then a riposte by red, but we'll see. I think it was to the arm against blue, but
So,
we'll see.
initial scoring action, so thrust to the body from blue, 2 points against
Oh,
red.
it landed.
After blow in time, strike to the arm, 1 point from blue.
Okay, so the thrust that we thought was parried actually landed, so that's
2 points against red, 1 point against blue.
and followed by the afterblow to the arm by red. So it's 2 versus 1. Nice positioning by both fighters, good stance. Okay, so it looked to me, interesting. I thought I saw a hit in there, but I thought I saw a cut earlier, but nobody called it, and then it was followed by a nice Ansetzen by blue.
Thrust from blue to red is valid. I'm calling the afterglow insufficient.
So I think a lot of that first exchange, there was a lot of things
points
caught on the
from
cross
red.
guard. So the blades didn't reach the body, or if it did, it didn't reach it with sufficient force. But that thrust was beautiful.
Right, that was really nice.
And again, feeling, and a little bit of action.
It looked to me like a beat out of the way, a little bit of a probing, then a beat and a cut to the left arm of red, I believe, by blue.
I agree. I think that's what I saw, but we'll see what the judges saw.
All right. There was a valid strike to the hand, C, delivered from blue, 1 point from red.
1 point from
So
red.
that is indeed what happened.
That's match.
All right, and I believe that is Robert Smith taking first place, Yishen Liu taking second. So our beginner fighters, third place is taking home a padded skirt from Spez. Second place,
Longsword, gold, Robert Smith.
again, Robert Smith taking first place.
I have to say, just for a second, I just want to really commend all these fighters. That was really, really good fighting from this beginners tournament. I'm
That was
very pleased.
Beautiful fighting. I absolutely loved it. Our second place is taking a HEMA Supplies Scholar jacket and a copy of Encased in Steel. And our first place is taking an arming sword from St. James Armory, entry to IGX next year,
In blue,
and 100 euros for PBT.
Kemp-Cowell of Philadelphia Common Fencers Guild. In red, we have Arto Fama of Svard and Steen.
So it's Connor Kemp of Philly and Arto Fama from Utrecht in the Netherlands. Arto is a well-known fencer in Europe. He's been a big factor on the scene since about 2010, but recently has really taken off. Frankly, I think he's probably one of the best, if not the best, technical fencer in HEMA right now. And he won the technical award at the Dutch Lions Cups for the last 2 years, and I was a judge for both of those cases. And he stood head and shoulders really above anybody else. And in fact, in one bout, he disarmed his opponent 3 times. It's pretty amazing to see.
While we're waiting for Arto to come here, again, we want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, especially PBT Historical Fencing. You've heard us saying PBT a few times about prizes that they've been giving, and they are, again, a HEMA supplier that has really been supportive of the entire community.
Right, for quite some time.
And we just want to give a quick shout out to all of our event sponsors. This entire tournament could not be done without
Table ready.
the help of all of the event sponsors.
All right, so Arto Fama of the Netherlands in red, and Connor Kemp-Cowell of Philly in blue.
So we keep seeing a very interesting combination where we have
Let's go, Connor!
a
All right, so Connor's a lefty. Keep your eye on that. And Arto doing his typical guard transition. Okay, up in frontal. Whoa, sparks from the blade.
Oh.
Beautiful. But it looked like a cut to the arm by blue.
it looked like Connor got a good cut to the
Did
arm.
you see that spark?
I saw that spark. That was beautiful. So, I know I've been mentioning the different styles of fighting, and really that's just your approach, because they all...
Cut some parries. There's a cut to the arm by blue to red. The afterblow is not sufficient time.
Right. Right, that's what I saw too.
1 point against red.
Nice
point
exchange of
against
blows,
red.
Beautiful spark, and followed by a cut to the arm by blue.
Let's go, Arno!
Arto's after blow was of insufficient strength. So Arto comes in with his trademark double or triple spheric.
That was a beautiful first cut.
And again, some good sportsmanship between our fighters. Even though there was a third blow that was a little late, but didn't look like there was any bad blood between Arto and Connor for that.
2 points against blue.
2 points against blue.
Ready.
Yeah, one of those Sverhau landed on the head of blue, subtracting 2 points. So when Arto goes up in right ox, you know it's Svera is coming your way. Oh, actually, that was a thrust out of the blue, by blue, that caused Arto to flinch backwards, and it was followed by a Sverhau that landed on the side of the head. That was quite nice.
That was a beautiful attack. And it looked like Blue was able to cover after his initial strike to avoid the afterblow workout from Arto.
So this is interesting. So blue is a lefty.
Blue is indeed a lefty. He's also a Fiorist and Vadi fencer. I know he studies both
Yeah, it's
Fiori and
interesting
Vadi.
to see him take. I forget the name of the guard. Of course, in German I'd call it Einhorn, but
I believe when he's coming across his body with the point up, I believe that is Finestra on the left, according to Vadi.
Afterblow in tempo to the head. That is 2 points against red, 1 point against blue.
2 points against red, 1 point against blue.
It looks like Arto did get a good shot to
Last pass.
Connor's
that
arm.
was it. 2 for blue, 1 for red.
And no pressure, but I can see the score, and it is tied at 2-2.
Thrust by Arto that actually takes the blade out of his hand.
That was brilliant.
Lovely onsets in.
My apologies, I lost the action.
That'll be 2 points
2
against
points
blue.
against blue. That is match.
And that is the match.
So our third place match goes to Arto Fama.
Well, but you know, it was very, very close.
It's very close and very technical.
Connor Kemp-Cowell came very close to being one of the best fencers in HEMA.
Yeah. I think he already is one of the best fencers in HEMA. As evidenced by the fact that he's here now. But Arto got it, and he has won a PBT head cover and gorget.
All right, so our final
For
bout,
open long swords, the last match of the evening,
last match of the evening. Stéfany
we have
Cheney
Stephen
and
Cheney
Eddy
in
Lewis.
blue and Eddie Lewis in red.
Stephen Cheney is with the Medieval European Martial Arts Guild in Bucks County. And Eddie Lewis is with, I believe, Forte Swordplay up here in Boston.
He's one of Jeff Tsai's students. Now, this will be an interesting fight. Eddy Lewis is, he moves beautifully and very athletic, very graceful, but he's got to contend with quite a height difference, which makes a big difference, can make a big difference, especially when, depending on how much his opponent thrusts. So
And I know
Stéfany, yeah, look at that. That's
some good
that's
sportsmanship.
That is a bit of a height difference.
Yeah, that's a little Mutt and Jeff there. And they are both fantastic fighters and quick fighters, too.
Right.
Blue fence ready.
So,
Fence.
All right. So
Stephen
each
with
other
a...
out, plays extended, a little bit of blade action, cut, parry. I'm not sure anything happened there.
I have
but it was-
no idea
it
what
was-
happened.
There was an exchange of blows and parries, and Eddy Lewis followed with a long and short thrust and drove his opponent out of the ring. But I don't think it landed. That was a really interesting exchange.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And again, a quick call for the ring
Fast-paced,
out.
good defense from both fighters.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a beat and a thrust. I'm not sure what happened. It looked to me like it was a double hit. It looks like both of those
Simultaneous
thrusts.
from both fences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what happened. Two hits with the thrusts.
Blue, 2 points against red.
So
2
two
points
against
against blue,
each.
2 points against red.
Ready. Fence.
this is some fantastic
Filling out the
fencing.
blades.
Fight.
That looked to me like a left Sverhow from Lewis. We'll see what the judges saw.
All right, so both of our fighters have a coach in their corner. Their coach is giving them some advice.
All right,
or
Toby
just
Hall coaching,
Stephen Chaney,
Stephen Chaney.
and Alex Kotorakis is coaching Eddy Lewis.
That would be pausing to give fencers time to either acknowledge or decline. Cut to the head from red, nothing
Right.
from blue in response. 2 points against blue.
2 points
So it
against
was
blue.
indeed that Sverhow to the left from Lewis that didn't land. It looked like a thrust to the hand by blue. But, you know, thrust to the hand is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
And there is no guard on these weapons aside from a crossguard.
1 point against red.
And I think our live
This
stream,
is the last pass.
Okay, this is our last pass here.
our last pass of the last fight
Right.
of the finals at IGX.
That was a parry and an Unterhau from Eddy Lewis to the body. That should be 1 point. I didn't see anything land from blue, did you?
I don't think blue did land a strike, but I don't think it was in tempo.
Hold, sir. Just one moment, thank you. Final action. Flank cut, one against blue.
1 against blue.
So, Eddy Lewis lands that right Unterhau for the win.
And you can see, again, great sportsmanship from both of our fighters.
Now that was nice, clean fighting.
So our second place is getting a set of sparring gloves and a Combat Con Warrior Pass for next year. And our first place fighter,
Men's open longsword, gold.
Eddy Lewis, a Forte swordsmanship from Boston.
and he is going to be taking home.
Jeff Size student.
He's going to be taking home a Kindsvatter, entry to Long Point next year,
If everyone could,
and €100 for
This
PBT.
concludes IGX Finals. Thank you very much.
if everyone could congregate around the banners over there for a event photo.
All right.
So there is not going to be an awards ceremony. Those will be awarded later. I think we've given you an idea of what that's going to be. Nice end. Those last few fights were actually quite clean. I was very happy to see it. You know, it's interesting. This is, you know, for those of you who know me, I'm American, but I live in Belgium. So I spent a lot of my time in Europe. And the last time I was at a HEMA tournament in the United States was actually in 2012. So I'm actually very pleased with the level of the fencing that I've seen here. I mean, especially, you know, those beginners fights were
The
quite
beginners
good.
are
I'm really
getting
happy.
better every year.
And the final fight, you know, these for the opens, those are also really good.
All right. Well, Matt, I think it's time for us to sign off. We really want to congratulate all of our competitors, but this was the Finals Livestream from IGX 2018. Again, I'm Patrick McCaffrey from the HEMA cast.
And we'll see you next year.
Thank you.